Hi, my name is Michaela, and my group will be speaking about connections between the documentary Stolen Education and course materials from this semester. Racial discrimination is a large problem that has caused and continues to cause problems for many people today. The harsh reality is that it has been around for centuries and has not made significant impacts to halt the spread of such ideas. The documentary, produced by Enrique Alemán, focuses on the Driscoll Independent School District around 1956. The school board, along with several teachers, were involved in racial injustice. Students were being held back because of their race. A case was filed against the Driscoll Independent School District because of these problems. Through much research, Alemán is able to interview several of the former students involved in the case. Analyzing both the documentary compared to readings throughout the course this semester, there are many situations that are similar in context. The injustices continue and have happened for several years. Making these connections is important to show the growth that needs to be acknowledged by society.
The documentary Stolen Education not only includes interviews with people who experienced the discrimination, but it also includes interviews with white people who were there to witness the discrimination. They are able to look back on their school experiences and tell the audience about the events of discriminations that the Mexican students dealt with and compare it to their personal experience, in which you realize how privileged they were just because they were white. It relates to the reading by Peggy McIntosh, in which some examples of white privileges are described by McIntosh, who is in fact a white person. One quote included in the reading really stuck out to me, and it is, "I will give a list of special circumstances and conditions I experienced which I did not earn, but which I have been made to feel are mine by birth, by citizenship, and by virtue of being conspicuous, law-abiding, normal person of goodwill." This quote is very powerful and relates to the documentary because it examines the idea of how we should all be given the same treatment and experiences regardless of race or skin color, because just like McIntosh mentioned, these conditions were not earned but given to at birth. Another reading that this documentary relates to is Storytelling for Social Justice by author Leanne Bell, which relates to the main objective of this documentary, to tell the story of 8 Mexican students that sued the Driscoll Independent School District. This documentary was created by Enrique Alemán, whose mother was one of the 8 Mexican children. With this documentary, we are able to hear about the racism and discrimination that these children face, and it is because of the storytelling through this documentary. I truly believe that it is one of the best ways for people to truly realize the issue of racism and discrimination, because through storytelling we are able to hear real personal experiences that people have gone through, and with that personal touch we are able to gain the best understanding.
The Purpose of Education, written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., gives a great outlook into what the lives of educated people should look like. He focuses on the education aspect along with the character of the person. School and education are some of the most important things a person can do for themselves. It not only betters them as a person, but it betters the community as a whole. In Driscoll, the character of the children was placed on the back burner while trying to only focus on their schooling. The constant critique and ridicule given by the teachers and staff had long-lasting effects. Many of the students did not finish school, let alone strive for success in college. The care of a person is so important. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said in 1947, "We must remember that intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. We as humans have feelings, and we must learn how to handle them. Teachers and staff should not be the reason for a child having self-esteem issues, lack of motivation, or dropping out. They should be the ones lifting up the students, pushing them to not only learn what they need to be successful in school, but push them to be better as humans, to be compassionate, empathetic, and understanding to all individuals they come across, whether they share the same skin color or not. It is saddening to know not everyone has the chance to receive some sort of education, and many others do not have the tools or people to build them up to have a great character. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a great role model in showing what intelligence and a positive character can do to a community.
Hi, my name is Madison Hewling, and I'm going to be relating stolen education and course readings to what has been going on in the education system in our just overall society today. In regards of what has happened in 2020, I feel as though that a lot of people have become more vocal and more aware of what they respect from social regulations of equality and injustices that have occurred this year. The United States of America recently went through a super huge wake-up call in the blatant injustices that have happened in our society and forms of government protocols over the decades. The Black Lives Matter movement happened in March of 2020, and it will be considered a turning point in racial inequalities. Our education system suffered greatly this year due to the hit of COVID-19. Many of these equalities were kind of shown this year due to the lack of technology and funding that some schools that are more diverse and are in lower income areas face. These inequalities and these times that have came from COVID-19 kind of shed a light on what schools are more predominantly taken care of than the others. Many schools didn't have the funds to give out technology for kids to go completely online, and a lot of this could have been avoided if schools were all treated equally and funded equally. When it comes down to financial reassurance in most schools, they don't have that reassurance to back them up. So when COVID-19 happened in 2020, it's something that kind of opened many people's eyes. And this technology setback really pushed a lot of students back in their form of educations. And with education primarily being online, many communities were not prioritized. And it all could have been avoided if the racial injustices that we've learned about this year were taken care of prior to.